I'm hoping the internet's supporting this. It looked a bit slow and staggered, so I don't know what you're actually seeing for the lead-in. But anyway, we're here, and I'm going to do a bit of a very simple tutorial about getting into the raw information. But I'll wait until I see someone pop up just to make sure it's happening. I'm not seeing anyone there at the moment, so it could or could not be happening. Jane, is it happening? I can't see. Looks like it might not be happening. Got a good view of my Ralph Tech watch there. Oh, here we go. Someone's there, so maybe it is happening. All right. Well, I'll assume it is. And before we get into the tracker, some of you who are already into this will be aware of how this works anyway. So I'm just going to walk you through for any new people who are watching this on YouTube that pop up, just to explain how you get to all the base information. So if you click onto either the Globe 580 Transat website, that's this one here, or it's exactly the same on the miniglobrace.com website. You'll see an opening page here, just a brief description, and then it goes down to follow the race. We're going to tip this upside down. We're going to reverse that. I'll get Rob to switch it around. So as soon as you open up the website, you're going to see these boxes, okay? And that leads you very simply and graphically to all the information. And this page here that you're seeing there will be underneath that. So that'll happen in the next few days. So it gets you now. All of these updates that I'm doing now, you can go and just hit this box here and it'll take you to an indexed supply of everything that we've done in the past. As you know, so yesterday's and so on, that's there. Latest news is just the press releases that we send out. We discussed this. We obviously sent one out from start day in Marina Rubicon in Lanzarote. We were going to do a mid one, but it's been a pretty straightforward, and the whole media scene at the moment is completely flooded. We assume most of our followers are already following Facebook and the other bits that we do. So we'll be issuing a press release doing two things: announcing the finish of the Transat race, and also just as a pre-alert for the start of the Mini Globe race. And that'll happen once the first sort of 3 or 4 boats come through, and then we'll wrap it up again just before the start of the MGR. This is the live tracker. If you just want to go to the tracker and just have a look yourself and play around with it. This is the boat tours that you will have seen. You can hit the indexed list of boat tours so you can review them all again. This is the entrant Facebook page. I'm going to hit that and go straight through it just to remind everyone what that is. Slowly but surely, you'll see the entrants who have a business Facebook post. There will be a Facebook page. They'll all be listed here. It's just downloading them at the moment. That's why it looks like there's nothing there, but each of the entrants has a spot. So you can then go through and look at all the posts from all the entrants on the website. It's really quite cool because it's fast. You can just, look at what their latest post was and then go straight to it and so forth. So that's a very relevant page if you just want to keep up with it. Those that are on YouTube that actually aren't on Facebook, that's really valuable because you're getting more than the things that we're putting up. You can look at them all. So if I go back now to the home page again, go back to just slip it down to the boxes. The internet seems a little bit slow. I hope this is not going to cause a problem. There it is. So we get from the Facebook pages to the satellite phone calls. They go up on SoundCloud. Jane sometimes just puts video clips to it. I'm just going to open it up so you can watch it as a video on YouTube for those that are on YouTube. But here they all are listed in index form from the various dates all the way down. Okay, so you can pick up any entrant, any date they've called in, and just listen to their call. Okay, so once again, I just go straight back to the home page just to explain further. That's the satellite calls. Then this is the epic. This is Graham's weekly reports. Okay, so once Graham's issued them, they go up as an indexed summary again, and you can just hit this to read the entire report. You need a bit of time to read it, but that's the whole point of this. It's actually the fine detail of what's happened blow by blow. So if you really get into it and you want keep up with the history and so on, it's all there. It's a fantastic job. Graham puts in a huge amount of effort. He's a volunteer. We don't pay him, but we gave him a free hat, and a t-shirt. We're very generous, and he does a great job. So some people might think, oh, it's a bit of a heavy read. That's the point of it, and it's fantastic. I'm very happy and very grateful to be able to see that, captured in the way that Graham does it. So pretty cool. This is one that some of you may not know, but it's a timeline. So you can run down the timeline and pick up what's happening at different times, right? And so it shows you everything that's going on. There, usually for any incident or any specific event that takes place. This becomes more relevant, particularly for the MGR, because it's over a year and a bit, and you'll find this to be really quite interesting. There's still some updates there. We're behind there. I'll get on to Rob about that. So, Rob, where's our timelines? But it's hard to point to features that have happened. We don't put everything in blow by blow, day by day. It's just when something's happening. But that was start date, and there's a few things that have happened there. So that's the concept of the timeline. So we go back here to the page again, and we come down to the onboard footage. You would have seen that. The only one that's a bit different was Peeler, because she didn't have any sound coming through on any of her footage. So Jane put the SoundCloud on that, but the others you will have seen. We just put up Kerry's today, and I think that might be, there's probably one left or something. Maybe that might have been the last one. Anyway, entrant tweets, it's a coming soon, because we asked the entrants to send us some tweets, but basically none have. There's only a couple that have done that. So we'll make it compulsory for the MGR. So you will see all those, we can put them up at relevant times. We haven't actually done any Q&As. This one here, normally I put an image up and people can ask the questions in the comments, and I have a particular live that starts up directly from that. But because we've been answering the questions at the back end of the tracker, we've still got lots of questions there. The only drawback to that is people who might be just interested in the questions, or they don't realize the questions are there after the tracker, may not see it. So we may revert some of that. So we'll answer simple questions, but I'll just see if there's any specifics from people following the race that don't follow the tracker right to the end. Okay, so now we're just going to go straight to, in fact, I'll just scroll down here. Okay, so that's follow the journey. There's videos there. You can cut straight to the entrance there, get all their background if you want to. There's any number of things there. That's the latest news that comes up. You would have seen these videos here. They're just a direct hit to get to them. Socials also there. So a wealth of information, but we will turn those boxes up the other way. So now I go to live. There's a heap of stuff here for the lives. The main one we want now is tracker. So we go to that, and it'll come up as the in a minute. There's the tracker. We're going to go straight to the Transat. So you can follow the mini globe race from the Transat website as well. They both sort of complement each other. So here we are with today's. We're going to go straight to, I'll do a couple of things here. First, I'll put the solid snail trail on. I like looking at that. We're going to put the weather in there. So there's the wind. And I always like to put the latitude and longitude in case it becomes of huge interest. They're certainly flying. And here we are right now. So this is the 12 o'clock UTC position. So it's about 50 minutes ago. And jeepers, John must have got onto his streak directory and decided to turn the corner. He's heading down fast towards the fleet. There's Antigua getting closer and closer by the minute. So it's all happening, and look at all this beautiful green stuff. So I'm wondering what the speeds are like. It looks like, as we expect now, 3rd of January for 3rd of February rather, for the arrivals, and that'll be a bit of fun. But sadly, Jane and I we will not be there. Yeah, we've already decided that we've just got too complicated. So that's bad luck, but Urton and Mark are gearing up to give it a go. So, and if you're actually in, this is the long shot, if you're actually in, if you're sailing in the Caribbean 600 or you're cruising the Caribbean and you happen to be in Antigua at the moment, and you have a rib, big rib, or a boat you want to come out to see some of the finishes, just let us know. Send us a message, because we're still, be good to get a few boats out there, maybe, or even a boat that we can use. We've got a little boat sort of getting organised from the National Sailing Academy there, which is all cool. But it's good to see if people are around following it. Certainly on start day, it's going to be interesting, because the Caribbean 600 starts the day after the MGR starts.
Are you showing the tracking on the website?
I'm showing the tracker. It didn't go. I'm still. Uh, what's going on here? It should still be showing that. So you're not seeing the website?
I see the website. I do not see the tracker.
Yeah, the trackers should have changed over to the. Oh, I see why. I'm on the wrong one.
Yes.
I didn't. I wanted the mini globe race, so I'll get rid of that, and I come on to the tracker on the. Okay, so I I see what's happened. So you should all now have the tracker coming up. What's going on here? I turn that one off. Nope. Okay, so it's all getting a bit cocked up here at the moment. Boom. So solo on. So why is that? Yep. Okay. Rightio. Okay, we should have the tracker coming up now. Yes, you've got it, and I've got it. That's cool. Okay. All right. So what happened then was, instead of working on the shared screen, I was working on a screen that wasn't shared. So, so here we go. I don't think you will have missed much. I'll just turn the wind on this one. Put the snail trails on, because I like to see them. Put the latitude and longitude on, and we're just about set. Okay. So I can just build that up now. Okay. More confusion. Rightio, there it is. So we've got Popeye did the big left turn here, heading down fast towards the rest of the fleet. He might have been a bit more efficient if he had just gone brrr this way, but it's only going to cost him a few hours maybe. Who knows? He's having fun, and he's making 4.4 knots at the moment with a 105-mile day. Apparently, last night I was speaking to Graham, and Graham's in touch with him. He might be his favourite contact on WhatsApp, and apparently he was exhausted last night. Lots of things going on, and was lacking sleep. He had been staying up high, he said, because he thought there would be less squalls and wind changes and so on, compared to the boats in the south down here. I don't know whether that would have been very effective, but he was happy with that decision, staying up there. And now he's made the decision to come back down and join the fleet. So it'll be good to see how number two and Popeye come together. They might be really close. He looks as if if he had to straighten it out, he'd be ahead of her. But I think they're probably going to converge together. Jasmine, 4.6 knots, 113-mile day. So doing pretty well. Straight line stuff. The fleet down here, then, the rest of them are actually getting quite close together. This little group here, by the time they come together, as they get close to Antigua, it's going to be very tight. So Jacob back here, probably thinking about, why am I carrying all these books right now? So he's got a great library on board, and it's his home, so that's cool. I know where he's coming from. But he has been moving pretty well. 115-mile day, 5 knots, that's all right. That's quite respectable. Little Wren, 5 knots, 107-mile day. So, Jacob, if you were listening, you took a bit out of Adam up there. Argo, 5.8 knots, 134-mile day. He's hooting. And I just tried to share a post before this, but we lost him because something went wrong with something or other. He's got a post up, and he's not torn his mainsail, but he's chafed it through completely with the swept-back spreaders on the rig. As you can only crack the boom off so far before the sail itself comes up against the spreaders. And the idea is, before the start, is to mark those positions on the main, and then hopefully put some anti-chafe there. Usually you put a strip along where the spreader engages all the way along inboard, and then you put a big circular patch right at the end of the spreader, because it folds at that point and you do get some quite respectable chafe. And these guys have got to go around the world. So I only saw one other person with anti-chafe on their mainsail, which was really strange, because if you're going around the world, you absolutely need it. So I think that'll be one of the big jobs when they're there. They'll all be scrambling to get some sticky back sailcloth and try and patch up their mainsails to go the distance. Anyway, I'll find that again. I just didn't have time and share it on here. But if you get on to, it's not actually on his site, because I then called his site. It was actually his manager put it up, and it's on hers, I think. So anyway, it's an interesting read. Okay, so Argo's doing pretty well. And then Immortal Gain, 130. Oh, that's John, sorry. No, I thought I read it wrong. 136-mile day. That's, I reckon, his best day ever. So he's certainly very happy. 5.7 knots. And that's ahead of the game on a few of them. 136. Argo was 134. Took out 2 miles on Argo. He's getting in the groove. And having said that, Dan the man nailed it. Oh, jeepers. He's getting over whatever he was getting over before. So the holiday might be over for a while. And he's going for it. Probably speaking to John, thinking, I can't let him stay in front of me. So that's pretty cool. Good to see him up and running. 6.3 knot average over the last 4 hours. Absolutely screaming. Jeepers. So it'd be good to know what's going on board. We come on, Nicky, has he been talking? Let us know. Maybe he has. I haven't seen his post there. So that's cool. Little B, 4.4 knots. That's very interesting. 107. That's unusual. So that's very unusual. 4.9 for Peter Punt. This could be part of the first deal, because even, I'm not sure what your screens are like, but believe it or not, I'm seeing a lighter color around here. There's a lighter patch. So maybe this breeze here is a little bit fluky, because it's not much for Peter either. Peter Punt. So 4.9, 127-mile day compared to Little B, 107-mile day. That's lost out a bit there. Biggest Monkey broke a spinnaker pole, apparently. 5.2 knots and 130-mile day. He's lost one of his pole, or not lost it, but broken it. That's not the end of the world, but it just goes to show they're driving hard. And it'll be interesting to see how he broke it, whether he rolled down and the sail hit the water and folds the pole inside out, or whether it just whatever. I'm not sure. Anyway, Origami chasing Renaud. So Carey's up for it. 134-mile days, not letting up, and 5.3 knots. So still enjoying the ride. And Renaud, fleet leader for some time now, 133 nautical mile day, 5.6 knots. So 5.6 and 5.6 and 5.3, consistently just a little bit faster. So they've still got a way to go. Renaud's the leading, and he's got 571 miles to go, and they're doing 130-mile days. So that's going to be sometime on the 3rd, I reckon. So let's have a look at the leaderboard before we get there. So leaderboards, okay, on these ETAs since the start, 5.5 knots. It's suggesting on the 2nd, it's in the evening on the 2nd, but I reckon we'll wait and see. But I just got this gut feeling it's going to be in the morning of the 3rd. And now Origami, 5.4, suggesting around midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning. But again, morning of the 3rd. Biggest Monkey, morning of the 3rd. That's afternoon of the 3rd. So that could be morning of the 4th. Let's wait and see. And hopefully we might be there just before Dan arrives. Let's see. It's really frustrating for us, but it's a bit of a long story. There's a backstory to why we can't get out earlier, but that's life. And they really have flown. This is really quite a fast trip this year. So Peter Punk, we should be there for that. 4th, 5th for Argo, and then we're fine. So the back end of the fleet. That's all very cool. What else can I pull out of this one? Distance to go, you can see that. Yeah, they've been averaging really high. If we count back, but I think the averages for the fleet are about 115 miles or something a day, which is pretty cool. So, okay, that's that there. That's that there. Let's just confirm the weather again for the next 2 days. This is all drag race material. It gets a bit boring. Usually in the other races around the world, you've got pressure system coming and wind shifts and things like that. But here it's all constant. So trade winds, you couldn't ask for better sailing. Okay, here we go for the next 2 days. You can see what's happening there. Oh, we're not moving for some reason. Here we go. Okay, pushing it through. It's all the same, more of the same. A few patches there. See that light stuff? Not as light as it was suggesting a few days ago, but there's absolutely a bit of light breeze there, and that's coming up tomorrow morning. So that, yeah, it's going to get a bit lighter for the guys in the front. Guys in the back might compress a little bit, might gain a bit on the leaders, but then it's all over again. Back to the trades. So it won't be going slow for long. So 31st, so that's day 2, and then it just picks up. It's a total blast. This is 25 gusting 30 all in here. So that's on the 1st. So 1st, and then the 2nd, back to 25. So it's pretty good. There's going to be one day of bigger winds, and the sea's probably going to break a little bit, but all very consistent. There's nothing there at all. The 3rd, that's fantastic. Jeepers. 4th, crazy. And the 5th, crazy. And the 6th, it's just boring from a watching perspective. And it just goes to show that this is not going to be an opportunity anywhere for anyone to make any incremental gains because of the weather. There might be a little bit of compressing. The back part of the fleet may close the distance by about 30 miles or so compared to the leaders. They might go a little bit slower, but it wouldn't be any more than 30 miles. So what you're looking at now is within reason the split of the fleet. So 290 miles. So that's about 3 days, just under 3 days for the majority of the fleet. And then then you've got the tail enders back here, 5 of them, that'll be 5 days. So from the 3rd to the 5th, about the 8th or 9th, something like that for the tail enders. All very good. Okay, I can't talk about it anymore, so I won't. And I'll just come back in here, and you should be seeing me. Yes. Okay, so all fun, fluff, and bubble. I just got to get on to this. Let's see how we go. 2 pelicans. That's an interesting name. G'day. It's happening. Excuse me. Hello. G'day. A little fuzzy. Yeah, the internet's not strong at the moment. We're missing our Starlink. Cool. G'day, Drake. Where can we find Frank and Brian's commentary on the website? We only do Frank every so often. Frank comes in, he pops up and does it. Brian's commentary is the same. Both Frank and Brian are purely voluntary, purely ad hoc. When there's something to say, they'll say it. But you can see what happens. I mean, I'm, at the moment, the way we're set up, I can easily do these daily updates, and it's the Transat, but it's very much just a drag race. There's not a lot of things happening. And imagine this around the world. What we don't want to do is make it boring. So, and that's the beauty of Graham's reports. He does all the little nitty gritty, puts it all together, makes a very detailed log. So for a week, you could not see anything, just read the week's actions for the whole lot. And going across for the MGR, the first leg to Panama's going to be like trade winds. It'll all be on the quarter and just blast across. So it's a boat race. The stories come from what's happening on the boats rather than the tracker, when they're there. But this is a graphic way of me putting it out there. But to do it every day for 15 months, it could get boring. And the same, Brian's commentary, he did our commentary in the OGR, and it was just off the planet because he'd done a few whitbread races and stuff like that, and plenty to talk about with the weather and the boats and the people and all that stuff. This one now, it will get very interesting because of the human stories, but the tracker update is, the weather is pretty consistent. So, but anyway, so I don't think we've done a library of commentary from Brian and Frank, but we will do. I'll get Rob to put something up there. Brian's only done one. Frank's done maybe 3 or 4. and he'll probably do one today because it's closing the finish. We'll just have to wait and see. So stand by for that, but it'll be on the website there somewhere. The boat tours are good, letting people get a feel and familiarise with the class. And onboard footage also good. Yeah, it's cool. We didn't get a lot for didn't get a lot for the qualifier in the Transat. We'll get a lot more. We have an agreement with the entrants. We share copyright on everything that's filmed and photographed while they're at sea. So we get copies of all their footage, and then we'll build that into a series. We hope of the entire race, and we'll put snippets up all the way through. So we'll have a lot more library footage from their trip across. That'll be made into a hopefully very quickly like an 8-minute story of the Transat. Rob will cut all that and we'll do a storyline, and so that'll be a little short film on what's happened here. That'll be fun. And then we use it as snippets once the MGR's on. So we'll see. We haven't got anything from Dan because he never gives copy, but we'll get him in Antigua. Graham's doing a good job summarising everything every week. Good for people who can't check it. That's exactly right. It's fantastic. I don't know how he does it, but anyway, Graham's stuff is great. Don, can you please explain the difference between nautical miles for each of the fleet? The difference. Okay. I'll go back to that in a minute. We'll measure them off with the measuring tool, and we'll see it. So once we've finished here, before I sign off, we'll go and do a measure of all the boats. Okay. Just following Josh Carley's YB tracker. But yeah, if you want to follow Josh, there it is. So he's underway, and also Eric is underway as well. So we'll get that. I mean, they've got Josh has got a big epic trip actually. I looked at it. I looked at the weather, and I thought, oh, I don't know whether I'd like that one. He's just left from North Carolina, I think it is, to go down. It's quite a way down to Antigua, but the weather coming up is just all over the place. You realise what trade winds are when you compare it to the voyage that Josh is going to have. It's going to be a bit ugly at times because there's some pretty solid headwinds forecast, and then it swings around. Nothing for more than a day and a half or something, but the wind is going literally around the compass, driven by the weather, not just squalls and localized stuff. This is mainstream systems. So, and he's got to do at least 750 miles non-stop. So I think he's going to have his work cut out for him. It's a brand new boat for him. And let's just see. But I hope he can keep it together and stay out there non-stop for at least 700 miles. Otherwise, yeah, we'll see what happens. But it's going to be a challenge when you compare it to the weather. I don't think the weather's available on his tracking page. You'd have to compare that to what's put out by the Windy website and imagine where he is, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But he's got some challenges coming up. Not huge storms, but just ugly sailing, if the forecast is correct. So good luck, Josh. Don't need a screen change. Yeah, thanks. So that can't see what you're describing. To show the tracker, still on the website. Good afternoon. Good day, Mike. Christine, g'day. From the sheriff, Omar Sharif's house. I thought they said that was the sheriff's house. They lock you up. Lots of collective experience being collected this season. Would be interesting how later builders will adapt and set up their boats. Yeah, we've banned the targers, but we're adapting a few little things there. We've even thought at one point, it's still up for discussion, that we may, in the next MGR, we may make furling gears, as in head sail reefing gears, compulsory. I'm not saying we're going to, but we're certainly talking about it because for around the world, there are some areas where it could very well be considered a safety feature of the boat. And if everyone's got the same thing, who knows what? I hate the thought of it, but let's just see what happens this time around. And people will adapt boats for sure. So, yeah. Anyway, spot on. I'm taking notes. Good. Jonathan, if you're watching, you should be hitting the like button. Jonathan, my man. I always keep forgetting. And I watch other people's sites. They're always saying, "Oh, remember to put like, share, all this sort of stuff." And it is really important. So if you can, that'd be great. Thank you. Thanks, Jonathan. I better give you a hat when I see you. I had a look at the current based on Renault's change in direction. seems to be some advantage there. Okay, I'll have a look when we go back there to look at the distances. Remind them to hit the like button. Oh, thanks, Calvert. Ooh, this is looking good. I can actually check when we get a Facebook post and people put emotions there. I can see who it is, and I can go down and see whether I've invited them or whether they're actually part of the deal or whether they're not involved. So be careful. I know who you are. You better be liking the site. Subscribe, and I think you're supposed to hit the bell, so every time we do a live, a bell goes off and lets you know. Anyway, how often do they need to go on deck to change sails? Do they need to change out the sail on the top down furler? Okay, that's a good question, because when I heard John Graham telling me about Popeye being exhausted, I always scratch my head on that, because I was, I'm not saying he wasn't exhausted. I absolutely believe he was exhausted, but one of the rule of thumbs when you're a solo sailor is never let yourself get exhausted. There are some situations you can't help, but when you start to get tired, you've got to stop and get some rest, because if you get, say, if this is the baseline here, and you're getting tireder and tireder and tireder and tireder, and you get way down there, when you go to sleep, it'll take you too long to catch up. In other words, if this is the baseline along here, and you're getting tired and tired and tired, and you stop and get some rest, you can come up pretty easy and get back up above the line. If you go tired down there, it takes you twice as long, not just the distance, but it's a really slow to start catching up. It just takes twice as long to not just the distance there, it's just the speed that it takes to come back. It's just slower. You can't afford to let it go down. It's only a little boat. There's only so many strings you can pull. And so it's very easy to just undersail the boat and go get some rest and not get exhausted. And Popeye shouldn't be racing. I'm not seeing him racing. So I get confused with that. And I think, maybe it's a management thing. I don't know. But jeepers, I even on Trekker, I spent quite a bit of time under bare poles, just set the wind vane up, bare poles, and bugger off, and have a rest. Because it's got to be fun too. And there's so many issues why you don't want to get exhausted. It increases risks on a lot of things. So yes, to answer the question, yes, you sometimes have to change sails regularly for performance. Reefing in and out, resheeting. When the wind's swinging in direction, you have no option. You have to do that. But when it comes down to speed, even if it's swinging in direction and you're tired, just drop everything, right? Or put a little bit of sail up, strap it central, and go to sleep, or go and rest. Got to be very careful. The way the spinnakers are usually worked, and some entrants have got a different take on that, is that the smallest one, the A7, and the next smallest one, the A5, both have straight luffs. In other words, the luff is straight like a head sail, and it has an anti-twist torsion rope between the swivel at the top and the drum at the bottom, and you can literally pull the rope and furl them up. And you usually leave them on the bowsprit. Okay, you can have two. You can have one on the end of the bowsprit and one at the end of the stainless steel bowsprit, and they can sit there. If you want to set your A3, the biggest one, it has a curved luff, so you can't use a normal reefing gear. You've got to use a top-down one. Okay, and usually that comes out and gets put up. Now, you don't then have two, so two on there. You can't set three on the bowsprit. You can only set two without interference. So one of the two, if you had a furler on the 3 and the 5, you'd have to take one of those off, which is easy because you just lower it down like a snake. So you just lower the halyard down. It comes like a snake, and you just unshackle the drum, and then you get your top-down furler and shackle that on, and then hoist it up like a snake, and then you just sail it out. So yes, you can set up to 2 asymmetric spinnakers on the front of the boat and leave them there if you want. It's a little bit of drag and a little bit of weight, but sometimes it's very convenient, especially in variable light conditions. You can just leave them there and roll them up. So that's how that happens. How much difference of temperature, humidity between the Atlantic and the Pacific Indian Ocean passages? That's a good point. I've never done the passage from Panama across to Marquesas and so on, but I've read plenty of people who have, and there's similar latitudes. You're actually dipping down a little bit more, so that's going to be hot and very very sticky. But you'll hear them start to talk about how hot it's getting very shortly. This last little bit, it's getting quite warm. So what's the difference? I got a feeling that the next leg from across to Marquises or from MGR is going to be warmer for sure. So, and it's longer. Don, can you get him? No, it's not really easy to get. I don't want to confuse everyone with the other tracker. We let them go. We've got to make sure they're all working their system and so on. So we just keep the Transat going, and then when they get there, they're all set up for the MGR. Loving watching the race. Thank you, Don, Jane, for dreaming this up. My pleasure. It's all fun for us as well. And I've hit 4. Christine, I've hit 4 today. 4 what? You've had 4 beers. No? And I know you're older than 4 years old. So, great update. I thank you. Kerry reduced the distance between him and Renaud on Sunday by 13 miles to single figures. Yeah, he's back to about 16 miles at the moment, I think it was. We'll have a look in a minute. Dom, can you get the guy coming from Florida on the tracker? No. Some reasons for that. Anyway, like, love, wow, cared, you're cool, Christine. Today, I'm happy. I bet Kerry is watching. Renaud's AIS signal constantly. Yeah, they should be in touch. He's 16 miles. So, any news from Eric Marsh? I haven't had any news from him, but I see him on the tracker. So, he's doing pretty well. So, nothing to report there. Okay, I might have lost some spots there. Here we go. Today to Kelton. Any news from Eric? Away from Fort Lauderdale. Captain Joe, g'day. Okay, that's it. So I'm just going to. Oh, I thought there was little B online watching. I'm not sure what he's doing there. Anyway, we were going back to show you the relative distances for the boats, the distance apart. Of course, you can do this mathematically, like say from Jasmine, you can just say the distance to the finish is 1158, and Bibby is 907, so 1158. So that's 9, 10, 11. So it's 258. Is that right? No, hang on a sec. 1158. He's 9. Yeah, 258 plus another 7. So it's 65 or something. So you can do it mathematically just by comparing each of the boats, and when they're side by side, you can say John is 830 or say 831, and Immortal Game is 835. So he's about 4 miles difference in the distance to the finish. So he's only, you can do it that way, or you can pick this up, and if you want to measure them off, you just literally, hang on, I'll get rid of it and start it again here, using the distance measuring tool. Just hit 2 spots anywhere you like, and we can say if we want to know where Biggest Monkey and Peeler sit, you've got to think of the course they're sailing. Generally, that's sort of like the rum line. Generally, that's pretty much under Peter Punk. Okay. Transom to transom, you got to measure the same spots. So it's about there, say. That's fair and reasonable, about 65 miles behind. So you take the distance measure off this little drop-down box there. So Peter Punk is about 65 miles behind Biggest Monkey. Okay. And so it goes. And it's fun. If you get on the tracker and you start getting used to all this stuff, you can do whatever you want. And from BB to Argo, only 81 miles behind. Now, that's not so bad because Argo's been, there's lots of reasons and suggestions and arguments as to why certain boats are faster than others. Okay, so Origami and I'll put it about here. Origami and Thingo about there. So they're about 17 miles. Yeah, very close together. Not too bad at all. So I don't know whether that answers your question. If I was quick enough, I could give you the comparison between every boat from wherever, but certainly, and the quickest way to compare again is on the leaderboard with distances to the finish. They don't do a calculation for you, but you can see here that Renaud and Origami, there's only a 7-8 mile distance here because there's a funny anomaly there. But anyway, you can see this is probably, you can take your pick. This sounds better because there, oh no, that's only distance sailed, not distance to finish. 571 versus 589. So that's suggesting 70, 80. That's 18 miles, 17, 18 miles. That's the difference. Okay, and you can go down the list and do the calculations. Okay, I think that's it for today. So I will try and press the right buttons here, and we'll see you tomorrow. Did Pila have any luck sponsor yet? I haven't heard that she has, so she's still out there trying. So good luck to her. Okay, see you later, everybody. Thank you.
History in the making. The McIntyre Mini Globe Race 2025. Small boat, huge adventure.